2025, but my mind drifts to a colder day, the last Sunday of a season that felt like a lifetime. I walked down the familiar street, breath fogging in the winter air, each step heavier than the last. Then I passed the bakery, the bookstore, heading for the end zone, a small sports bar that was more like a church for football believers. Inside, the smell of beer, wings, and history hit me, the hum of conversation. Clinking glasses and pre-game shows filled the air. Familiar faces, old man Jerry in his corner, Maria the bartender, regulars who felt like family. But tonight a quiet sadness lingered. I took my usual stool, running my hand over the worn wood. Each scratch a memory this bar had witnessed my life cheers. Heartbreaks, friendships, and growing up. Maria slid a cold beer to me. Without a word, she knew today was the last day for NFL Sunday Ticket. As we knew it, the package was moving to a streaming service the bar couldn't afford. This was the end of our ritual, the end of our magic. Some might say it's just a TV package, but for us it was the thread that tied us together. It was the heartbeat of our Sundays, and today that heart was beating its final rhythm. I looked around, realizing how much this place meant to all of us. The end zone wasn't just a bar, it was our home field. The anticipation for the last kickoff was bittersweet. We all felt it, the end of an era. The screens glowed, but the real story was in the faces around me. We were all here for one last game, one last memory. The final whistle was coming and none of us were ready, but we were together, and that was enough. What is a tradition? It's a story we live, a promise we keep for us at the end zone. NFL Sundays were sacred. It wasn't just football. It was connection, a place to belong. Here you were never alone. You were surrounded by people who shared your passion and pain. The ritual arrive. Claim your seat, order wings. Talk predictions. We spoke a language of stats and hope. United by the game outside. Lives faded inside. We were just fans. The season marked our year. Optimism grind. Playoff tension. We celebrated victories. Mourned losses, always together. It was more than a game, it was a reason to gather. To feel, to escape. NFL Sundays were our release. Our shared story unfolding live. We didn't just watch, we lived it together. My first Sunday at the end zone felt like a movie scene. 19, new to the city, lonely, missing my dad and our old couch. One Sunday, the silence of my apartment was too much. I wondered until I heard a roar from a bar. I hesitated, almost turned away, but something pulled me inside. I sat at the end of the bar, ordered a soda, watched my hometown team on a small screen. When they scored, I cheered, then felt foolish, but Jerry, an older man, clapped my shoulder. Nice touchdown, kid. Jerry became my first friend here, introducing me to Maria and the others. That day I stayed until the last game, talking, laughing, arguing calls. For the first time in months, I didn't feel alone. I walked home lighter. The city felt less cold from then on. The end zone was my Sunday ritual. College apartments. Relationships changed, but the bar was constant. Jerry in his booth, Maria behind the bar. Games on the screens, it was where I celebrated, mourned, and grew up, all from one touchdown. One cheer and one kind word. The end zone became my anchor. Every Sunday I found my people. The tradition started with a stranger's kindness. That's how community begins. The bar gave me more than football. It gave me belonging. I never forgot that first Sunday. It changed everything. And now it was coming to an end. Sitting on my stool, memories swirled like ghosts. I saw my younger self wide-eyed at my first playoff game here. The room electric, hope thick in the air, strangers hugging after a last-second win. I remembered heartbreak too, the silence after a crushing loss. Maria quietly clearing glasses, Jerry's comforting hand on my shoulder. We lost together and that made it bearable. My father's ghost lingered too, his visit fitting right in, proud of my place and my people. The bar held his memory, a bittersweet ache. On this final Sunday, nostalgia was heavy. I was grateful for every cheer, every sigh, every moment of belonging. This place gave me community, a backdrop for my life's milestones. The thought of it ending felt like losing a part of myself. It wasn't just a TV package ending. It was an era closing. I took a long sip of beer, trying to swallow the lump in my throat. The end zone was more than a bar. It was a keeper of memories. Every Sunday here was a chapter in my story. Now the final page was turning. I looked around, knowing I'd never forget these faces. The ghosts of Sundays past would always linger here. This was goodbye, but also gratitude. The memories would last even as the doors closed. Friendships at the end zone were unique, built on shared Sundays, not daily details. You knew their team, their reactions, their favorite beer, not always their last name. But here they were. Family conversations started with football, but sometimes went deeper. Jobs, families, worries. The game was the excuse, the connection was real. We celebrated each other's victories, supported each other's struggles. The magic was in the mix. People who'd never meet elsewhere united by the game. Here nothing else mattered but the play and the person beside you. These friendships were the bar's greatest gift. Our team was about to lose its home field, but the bonds would outlast the games. As the games kicked off, excitement mixed with sorrow. Cheers and groans sounded, but every moment felt more precious. We all knew this was the last time. I tried to focus on my team and kept watching the people. Jerry, Maria. The group in the back, we were all here for one last ride. Squeezing out every drop of joy, the air was thick with unspoken goodbyes. This place was more than a bar. It was a landmark in our lives. The thought of it ending was hard to accept. We knew we couldn't recreate this feeling elsewhere. The afternoon wore on. Games ended, but the sadness lingered. I felt grateful for every Sunday, every friendship, every memory. Saying goodbye was losing a piece of my heart. The late games began, the bar glowing in the night. The crowd tried to recapture the magic, roaring, screaming. Living in the moment for a while, it worked. The sadness faded, but quiet moments brought reality back. Every handshake, every photo, every glance was a quiet goodbye. My team's game came down to the final minutes. I wanted the game to slow down, to stretch these last moments. The outcome mattered less than the experience of ending together. The final plays unfolded, the bar on its feet, united in hope for a minute. I forgot it was the end. It was a perfect reminder of what made this place special. The magic was in being part of something bigger than ourselves. 10 seconds left. My team lined up for a game-winning field goal. The bar fell silent, everyone holding their breath. The snap, the hold, the kick, it sailed through. We won. The cheer was loud but short. A cheer mixed with a sigh. The joy of victory was instantly replaced by the sadness of the end. The screen flashed the final score, then cut to commercial just like that. It was over, the season. The tradition ended, a strange quiet settled. People moved slowly, not wanting to leave handshakes. Hugs, quiet words of farewell. See you around, take care, Jerry. Thanks, Maria. Each goodbye was a small crack in my heart. I was one of the last to leave. I walked to Jerry's booth. He was putting on his coat. Good win, kid, he said, voice shaky. Yeah, it was. We stood in silence. Nothing left to say after hundreds of Sundays. I put my hand on his shoulder. Thanks for everything, Jerry. For that first day, he smiled. Patted my hand. You take care, son. He walked out into the cold night. I lingered, looking around one last time. The bar was empty but full of memories. I knew I'd never find another place like this. The end zone had given me more than I could ever repay. I stepped outside, the cold air sharp. The night quiet. The final whistle had blown. But the story would live on. Alone at the bar with Maria, the place was quiet. The echoes faded. That's that, she said. I nodded, not trusting my voice. Thank you, Maria, for all of it, tears in her eyes. This was a good place, wasn't it? The best. I walked out into the cold night. The city asleep, change is part of life. Things end, but memories remain. The bar may close, but what it built inside us can't be taken away. I gained more than a place to watch football. I gained a family, a history, a sense of belonging. The most important things aren't things at all. They're the connections we make. The end zone taught me that, Jerry. Maria, all of them taught me that even as a season ends, the game of life and its connections goes on.